Hey guys, how's it going today? Been a while since I've been working on the tractor, 1100 Massey Ferguson. Um, Last year we kind of resurrected this thing from the dead. It had been sitting for quite a while. Got it fired up and running and just been slowly kind of working on stuff, just trying to get it to where it's functional. Had several videos on working on the hydraulic system on it, making sure that things were working, and just getting it so we could use it. This time around, I am gonna work on. Had an issue with high range. I couldn't get the transmission into high range. And these tractors, they've got a hydrostatic high and low, and then there's also a gear high and low. So you've got several options there for speed, but I couldn't get it to go, and I worked on the linkage and did all kinds of things. I started kind of thinking about it, looking down inside of there and underneath the steering wheel, and there's a little panel where all that linkage goes. Well, I dug around down in there and found that there was basically just a bunch of dirt that was kind of down on top of the transmission, not allowing that to happen. So I'll pull that panel off, kind of show you that. And then also I've been kind of messing with the lights, and we've got a fan blower system, heating system in the cab that wasn't functioning. Working on the charging system, so all that stuff is kind of things that I've been playing around with. But today I just did a couple of the lights, but I'm going to be swapping the other two out. But basically on here there's two lights on each side of the cab and on the front, and I swapped them from the halogens to LEDs, and it already makes a pretty big improvement as far as the how bright they are even in the daylight. So you can kind of see how bright the LEDs are in relation to the halogens over there. So I'm gonna swap out the other two lights and do some more work on this thing. So I ordered new gaskets because you can see here these gaskets are terrible, bad shape, and they came from Steiner Tractor Parts. New rubber gaskets for the lights, and then I ordered the LEDs on Amazon, and really it wasn't that expensive. I think the LEDs were like, for two of them it was like 28 bucks, might even been less than that, and these gaskets were like 12 bucks a piece. So the housings aren't in great shape, need to be painted. I mean, everything on this tractor needs work, but it's at least we'll have lights that are functioning. And then the other thing that wasn't working on this tractor was the charging system, and pretty much what it came down to was just connecting up a couple of wires, making sure that everything was good, and pretty much charging system was functioning. Aside from, I had the voltage regulator had a couple wires in the wrong spot, so I swapped those out and everything was good. So this is literally the first time in quite a few years that this tractor has had working lights and charging system, so that's nice. And like I said, up in the cab up here, basically there's a vent fan, and then there's heat in there, and none of that stuff was working, so I got all that connected up. The switch that's hanging out right there, I'm going to end up replacing. I did get a new switch because that one there is bad. But other than that, we're moving right along. If anybody's interested, these are the lights. V-Star, 12 volt, 15 watt. They're fairly bright. I'll do a quick little video once it starts to get a little darker out, just to show how bright they are. Another thing I'll be working on over the winter and next spring, picked up a set of wheels for this tractor. This set that's on here right now, they're in pretty rough shape. So I'll be working on those, painting them up, getting them ready to go, and then I got to get a set of tires. These lights, when they go in, there's a little notch right here, and it just has to fit into one of these grooves. But then also, if you look at this gasket, there's a little groove or a little notch right there that has to go in here. So you kind of got to line it up and make sure it all snaps in there. And there it is, in. And I'll just flip the switch. You see how difference in brightness. So definitely the LED is a lot brighter than the halogen. Even in the daylight, you can see how much brighter it is. So I'll do a quick change of the other one and on to the next thing. So I was talking a little bit about that high range issue I was having with this tractor, and if you look up here, right here is the lever for the high-low range, and when you would push this lever up, it would not go all the way to the top of the slot. It was like it was hitting something, kind of resistance, almost like the linkage was sticky. Well, this cover down here comes off, and I'll pop that off real quick and show you what I'm talking about. Alright, now that I got that cover off, down in there you can see that linkage that's moving. It would not go far enough down in that hole, kind of way buried back down in here, because there was a bunch of dirt on top of that transmission. Once I cleaned that out of there, vacuumed it out and got it to where it was all clear, then didn't have any issues. So if you have anything with these tractors having issues with linkages or high ranges or anything, it's probably kind of a common problem, just simply because, you know, down in here it's probably collecting just a bunch of junk just from working in the field. So simple fix and everything's functioning again. Alright, so getting going on this wiring again. Basically had to pull the dash out, and this switch here I replaced with a new switch, 2-position switch, so that's installed. I got my wires down here for that, flasher in line. I'm just trying to get everything kind of in here temporarily just so I can get things working. And then I've got cab wiring that goes up. This is for the flashers that are going to be up on the top of the cab. So the next step is I'm going to go ahead and get the flashers put in, which is not really that exciting. Just going to end up being up here on the top of the cab, right on that corner where that broken light bracket is, and get those working. So that'll be the next step. Alright, so it's all connected up and it is flashing. So I'll do the same thing on the other side and move on to the next thing, which would be replacing that switch. Alright, switch is in. Fan's working. Pretty straightforward. It's just a 3-position switch. You got battery, high, medium, low, and there's a common on there. But this one was bad. The connections are all loose on it. So swap that out and done. So appreciate you guys watching. I'm going to fire this thing up here in a minute and take it out for a little drive, see how everything's working.